Angry about the blue lights, no?
Honorable Maude, yes. Honorable Van Rooyen, what's your point of order? Sorry, Honorable Reddy.
Madam Speaker, I rise in terms of Rule 65. You know, while the previous speaker, it's not every day that we like to hear what the DA has to say, and today we wanted to hear, but members were actually speaking into the mic, switching on their mic, and as a result of that, we were unable to hear the speaker. Now, the sound, the acoustics is extremely bad on this side of the House. I'm really appealing to you, Speaker, to get some control here and inform members that they should not howl so much so that we cannot hear the speakers. Please.
Thank you, Honorable Reddy. That point I made myself for all of you in this House to actually be in order. Honorable Maude, take your podium.
Thank you, Speaker. Greetings, President and Commander-in-Chief, Honorable Julius Malema, officials, commissars, and fighters. The EFF does not support the 2025 fiscal framework and revenue proposals as tabled by the Minister of Finance. Speaker, we wrote to you last night an urgent letter requesting the withdrawal of the report on the 2025 fiscal framework and revenue proposals adopted by the Standing Committee on Finance yesterday, adopted during a very chaotic meeting and in a procedurally illegal manner. In our letter, we demonstrated that the committee failed to follow a very basic but essential legal requirement in terms of the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act of 2009, and requested that you withdraw this item from the order paper, but you chose not to do so. This is what will ultimately collapse the confused GNU government, not the present backroom dealings and backstabbing we are witnessing, but the failure to follow a simple legislative process. With all the confusion we witnessed in the committee yesterday, we are reminded of a giant of our struggle, Mama Winnie Nomzamo Madikizela Mandela, who passed away on this day 7 years ago. She once said, and I quote, "We have betrayed our people. Our struggle has been betrayed. The ANC has become something we never envisaged." And I end quote. This quote rings truer than ever before, as the ANC, now hiding behind the so-called GNU, continues to sell out the aspirations of our people. The less said about Action SA's misunderstanding of the legislation which guides the process and procedure to amend and approve the proposed budget as tabled by the minister, the better. We will take time outside the sitting and explain, perhaps in a more simpler manner, that a budget is not passed based on negotiations of good faith, but is a creature of statutes. But let's deal with the crux of the matter, the debate, and what has caused so much chaos with this budget. Speaker, allow us to take the educational approach, and then we'll make some of the proposals that should have found expression in amending the report. Firstly, the procedure to process the fiscal framework and revenue proposal tabled by the Finance Minister is guided by the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act. Let me remind you, this is the very same legislation that, when it was introduced in the late 1990s, the ANC and the then Finance Minister Trevor Manuel did not want this law because they wanted all the powers in the hands of a government to pass a budget. But that is not what the Constitution says. Secondly, once the budget is tabled by the Finance Minister as a proposal, it is up to us as members of Parliament who have legislative responsibility to finalize the budget. We cannot send it back to the Finance Minister. It becomes our baby, and we must see it through to the end. Number 3, like we said in our letter to you, Speaker, this report was adopted unprocedural because despite our advice in the committee, the ANC refused to hear the advice and follow simple procedure. They could not allow for this to happen because they wanted to hoodwink Action SA into adopting a report they seem not to understand in its implications. And for that, we don't blame them because they simply didn't know. Lastly, Speaker, all other money bills, this includes the appropriation bill, division of revenue bills, and all other bills, including ultimately VAT, must be consistent with this fiscal framework and revenue proposal. You cannot vote for a VAT increase today and hope that when it comes in the form of a separate bill, it is different. It will be inconsistent with the law and this fiscal framework. President, we're making simple proposals as the EFF. We're saying we reject the finance minister's proposal of VAT, and we say it must be kept at 14%. We're saying let's adjust the personal income tax bracket in line with inflation so that when middle and low income earners receive annual adjustments on their wages, they are not pushed into higher brackets. We're saying let's increase corporate income tax and introduce new forms of wealth tax that target apartheid inheritance. We made a proposal for an amendment to increase funding for SARS so that they can go and collect 800 billion rands that is there uncollected. We made a proposal that let's give the Parliamentary Budget Office, together with the FFC, the mandate to recalibrate the budget, allocate additional money for the appointment of doctors, of nurses, of teachers, police officers, and more general workers in municipalities. We made all these concrete, practical, and implementable proposals in the meeting, but there was never a procedural and legal way to put this before a decision of the committee. Instead, Speaker, they were just ignored. Now, this is what is going to happen. If you vote for this fiscal framework and revenue proposal today against the advice, we are going to challenge you in court for failing to follow the law that is clear and basic. I thank you.
Thank
We
you,
need a taxi
Honorable
fare.
Member. Honorable